Hello, welcome to my spooky TBR for 2023. So I have in front of me 2 stacks of books, plus 2 that are on pre-order for books that I would love to read during the spooky season. Now I know it's a lot, there are 30, but I will do my bestest to get through some of these. They are arranged here from children, middle grade, and I think there's one YA, there's manga, there's graphic novels, there's prose, so there is the gambit. Some are brand new releases, some are old school, so let's see what I will be perusing through for spooky season to read. So first up, we have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I have all 3, so these are the cult classics with the very scary illustrations that may have tormented you at the Scholastic book fairs. So 3 are Scary Stories. Next up, we have 5 Goosebumps books. They actually came in a collector's tin, so I am excited to dive in. I am actually a co-host on the Stine readathon in October, so we are reading R.L. Stine books. So very excited. I have not read any of these, so one of them though we'll get to. So I have The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, which I've never heard of. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. We have Stay Out of the Basement. This is the one that had a TV adaptation that scarred me as a child, and my current middle grade that I am writing is my triumph over being traumatized. And Roy is messing with a box. Aren't you, sir? Too adorable. So yeah, Stay Out of the Basement. And then I also have The Haunted School and The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. So these are the 5 that I own in physical copy. We'll see if I get any through Libby or my actual library. Yeah, so these are 5 Goosebumps books. Up next, we have a brand new release that just came out yesterday, and that is The Odds by Lindsay Puckett. So these are children that I believe live in a haunted old folks home. So this cover is stunning. I read her book for The Glass Witch already. The voice of the characters were immaculate and just goals. So I have high hopes for The Odds, and I will for sure be reading this one. Up next, we have The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. So says, Nobody Owens, known to his friends as Bod, is a normal boy. He would be completely normal if he didn't live in a graveyard, being raised and educated by ghosts. So this is a classic by Gaiman. So I've heard many good things. I've never actually read it. So I have read Coraline, but I've never read Graveyard Book. So this is on my TBR. And the last middle grade is Whispering Pines. So I don't really know anything about this book except for it was recommended to me. So yeah, it's a little bit more of a chunky middle grade, but I'm excited. Decent size text. So it says, Ray's father vanished without a trace, and Ray knows what happened to him, but no one believes her when she says her father didn't run off and was actually taken. So yeah, excited for this one. On to the more adult prose. I have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Sir. So on the back it says, this book packs all the magic of a summer horror flick. So, Exorcism, yes. Then we have Everything the Darkness Eats. Look at that black cover. It's so cool. And it says, an insidious darkness threatens to devastate the rural New England village when occult forces are conjured and when bigotry is left unrestrained. So I don't know much, but I'm excited. And then we have Dracula, the actual Bram Stoker prose version. So I have never read this version. I have seen many a Dracula film, but never actually read it. So this month, coming up month in October, for the Scripting the Book with Nia Vixen of Fiction, we are doing Dracula. So I gotta read it, I gotta get through it. Hopefully it is phenomenal. So we'll see. I know it's in the form of letters, so yeah, let's see how I like it. Then we have a classic of the Gothic, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I can't read, apparently. But yes, Rebecca. So this is like the definitive Gothic, so I am excited. Up next, looks like a manga, but it's actually prose. So I picked this one up, not knowing anything about it except for the cool cover at Barnes & Noble when I was in the States for a trip. I started reading it, and then I had to put the pedal to the metal on getting words written, so I had to put this to the side. But I'd like to get back to it. And it says, "Can I come to your house today?" I read that scene and it was creepy, so I want to get back to this. So Yamihara it has an explanation. Yes, an abbreviation of Yami harassment, which is darkness and harassment. Unwelcome conduct towards a person stemming from darkness in one's own mind and heart. Applies to any action that threatens to violate the dignity of another person, regardless of intent or awareness. So, dark harassment, Yamihara. And now we are on to the manga section. So this first one, I actually couldn't wait and I read it tonight, but it is hashtag DRCL, Midnight Children, Volume 1. So this just came out. And it is a retelling of Dracula where the Demeter, the ship, gets moored on the embankment next to a boarding school. So Dracula is going to infest a boarding school. So it was an all-boys boarding school, but Mina is the first one to go in there as a girl. And something's up with Luke, who at night is Lucy. So it's a little funky, but it's really good. The art is just stunning. I love the artwork so much. But yeah, Dracula, children, Midnight Children. And then, don't judge me, I've seen like every adaptation. I own the Japanese live action versions. I own the anime. I own like the novelizations. So I'm finally gonna read the manga. I have 3 omnibus volumes of Death Note. So I want to get through these 3, which is technically 6 volumes, but I'm counting it as 3 of Death Note. So yeah. Gonna finally dive in to the original source. Then we have the next 3 volumes of Blood on the Tracks. So I am on volume 4. So I have 4, 5, and 6, which is a psychological horror about a boy and his mother. Oh, she's messed up, and this poor boy, oh my gosh. So if you want psychological horror, Blood on the Tracks. Yeah, so I want to pick it back up, read 4, 5, and 6. I do have through volume 13, so I want to eventually get through and catch up. An old school is Orochi. This is volume 1 by Kazuo Umez. I have read Umez's work. It was The Drifting Classroom. I have all 3 volumes in hardcover. And this one is another of his horror classics. This one says, a mysterious young woman slithers her way into the lives of unsuspecting people, like the legendary multi-tailed serpent for which she is named. So this is a series, but I have volume 1. Next up is a reread, and I want to read Junji Ito's adaptation of Frankenstein. So this is the first Junji Ito on the list. The next one is another Junji Ito, which comes out October 10th, I believe? No, 24th. So this is the new collection, and then there's also Betwixt, which is a horror anthology that he did the cover illustration for. So these 2 are coming in the mail. They will be here in October. And then we have 2 comic books, graphic novels. So I have 30 Days of Night, which is about vampires in Alaska when it's winter time and the sun doesn't rise above the horizon. So, you know, there's no sun to repel the vampires. So I am excited for this one. And I also have Witches. When the Rooks family moved to the remote town of Lichtenfield, New Hampshire, to escape a haunting trauma, they're hopeful about starting over, but something evil is waiting for them in the woods just beyond town, watching from the trees, ancient and hungry. So it has stuff on the back like, the most terrifying comic you'll ever read, dark and brutal, witches are like nothing horror fans have ever seen. So I am excited. So this is how you spell it, Wytches for Witches. This is volume 1, so here we go. And the final book on the list is actually an anthology called Classic Monsters Unleashed. So this was actually a Kickstarter that I backed. So it says, new stories of famous creatures. Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dr. Moreau, the Headless Horseman, the Invisible Man, the Phantom of the Opera, they're all here. In new stories that reimagine, subvert, and pay homage to our favorite villains. Written by the biggest names in the horror genre. And then it lists a bunch of people. And yeah, there's just so many in here, and I'm very excited. So, and we've got all the autographs, so that's pretty darn cool. Yeah. Classic Monsters Unleashed. And that is my giant TBR for spooky season 2023. So we'll see if I get through half of these, but there are a few that are for sure, like Dracula for the scripting the book, and the Goosebumps for the Stine readathon. And the odds, because I need to. So there are a few that are musts that like I will get through, and we'll see how far I get. I will also be writing during the month of October, so I will see how much time I can dedicate to reading versus day job versus writing. But that's the TBR. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got some recommendations that you will add to your pile, your ever-growing TBR. I feel ya. So yeah, that is it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!